Hey everybody, this is PastorDustin recording for DraftMagic.com, and I am not an 8-4 as you might usually expect, but I am instead in a 4-man new player draft, because this is a Going Infinite series, and it's a format that you might not be used to, particularly if you are just used to watching the regular draft videos online. But what I am trying to do is a little different, because I am starting off a brand new $10 account, which comes with 5 ticks and 20 new player points. And it allows you to do things like this, where you hop in with 3 other people that you hope are noobs, and if they're not, then, well, you get pwned, but that's a risk that you take. And you go through a 2-round event, and at the end of the 2-round event, if you win a pack, and if you don't win the finals, you win a nothing. So we're really shooting for the moon here. So the reason that I wanted to do this series is that I've been lurking around Draft Magic and a couple of other sites that I won't name because they're not half as awesome, and I've always wanted to get into it myself, but I see other people doing 8-4s and I think, well, you know, if I scrub out on those 8-4s, then I'm going to run out of money awfully quickly, but I can spend $10 on a new account. And so I got in to do it. I thought, you know, at the very least, even if I lose all 5 drafts in a row, it's $10 for 5 drafts. So that's fine, you know, $2 a draft. But if I win just even an average amount, then I can take that pack that I win at the end and resell it for more ticks, and then go all the way through. And so I've started an experiment to see how far I can go with just the brand new one. And so I've done several drafts now, which I may or may not post those later. And one of the things that I've learned is that you go blue-black in this format. So I invite you along with me on this journey, both to see if you might want to get into Modo, especially through the Going Infinite challenge of just getting a $10 account and seeing how far I can take you. I think that's the second Pacify I've seen, which is a little disheartening since I prefer to go black-blue, especially since I've got a Planeswalker here. Anyway, so hopefully if you are interested in getting into Modo, this could be an inspiration for you on how you could get into Magic the Gathering Online on the cheap and get in anywhere from 5 to 20 drafts, and maybe even more if you do well. So I've skipped the actual content of the picks that I've had here. I've found that an M14 is no big secret. Blue is the best color. I like to pair it with black. And so whenever I can, I attempt to force blue-black. So I've gotten 3 solid cards here. I've never actually played with Liliana, but it seems like it's a pretty good card draw engine with that +1 ability. Let me make that a little bit bigger for everybody, especially if you're on a mobile device. It says if you search your library for a swamp card, reveal it, and then put it into your hand, you get to +1 her. The -3 is that target creature gets +X/+X or -X/-X, equal to the number of swamps you control. So that's a good kill spell there. Let's see. I don't know if the Messenger Drake or the Death Gaze Cockatrice is better. No. Over the Drake for now. And then the ultimate is -6. You get an emblem with swamps you control, have tap, add 4 black mana to your mana pool. So it looks like it's a good way to thin your deck out of swamps and then get a couple of nice kills there, maybe even a finisher toward the end. So that card seems quite playable. Okay, so we've gotten through all of our first 4 picks, and one of the things that is different about this format when you've only got 4 people is that your card pool is much more shallow. So we have now seen everything. We've seen all the cards that are going to be in that first pack, and so if we're paying careful attention, we can see what spins much more quickly, and we can pick up on signals. So if I'm going to stick with blue-black, which I think I am, since I've got some fairly solid colors, I've got a chance at Phantom Warrior or Altar's Reap. Now I didn't used to have a lot of respect for Altar's Reap, and then I played the black-red deck and saw that it was spectacular, and then I played some other decks that just had black in them and saw that even if it's not in the sacrifice deck, it's still a strong card. And so I'm going to pick the Altar's Reap here over the Phantom Warrior. Okay, I believe that there was a pacifism in this pack, which has been picked up, leaving almost nothing. This is a dry pack. There's a coral merfolk in there for us. Not a whole lot other than that. Dark Favor could be good if we later pick up something that wants us to play enchantments. But other than that, this is a weak pack for everybody. Let's cost sort up here. We're a little heavy on our curve right now, so the Coral Merfolk looks like the pick. Hopefully we don't have to end up playing it. Oh, there is a pacifism here. Okay, well that's strange. Well, there's nothing in black that I'd really want to play. I'm not a big fan of Shrivel. And we're not going to have anything that's hexproof, so we don't want this armor. So I, at the very least, am going to hate out this Pacify. If we get a couple that go in a row, maybe our colors switch around. The other notable cards here in the pack, you've got Blur Sliver, but we haven't seen any good slivers, so that's not too big of a deal. You've got Giant Spider, solid card. Siege Mastodon, which is not as bad as it looks. If you're used to playing stronger formats, you might think that you'd never play it, but here in M14 this is fine. Okay, so our Deathgaze Cockatrice is still there for us. There's also a Bubbling Cauldron, which can be good in black if you can get your newts. So it's between those two, but I think that the Deathgaze Cockatrice is the clear pick. If this comes back around, the cards that I have my eye on are either this Bubbling Cauldron first, or a Charging Griffin, just in case we end up getting pulled toward white. And you can get pulled later than you normally would in an 8-person, because if the next pack comes up and I see those first 4 go through, and there's just absolutely nothing for blue and black, you have to start thinking, maybe I should have been in white. So I'm going to pick up this Celestial Flare here, partially to hate it out, and partially because there's nothing else. So now we can color sort over here, and see that we actually have 2 very good white cards, and so we're open. You know, we could go black-white if we wanted to. Okay, so this is, speaking of black-white, I think I am going to pick up the Dark Favor here, because there is a good black-white enchantment deck if you can get a bunch of blight casters. So I'll pick up the Dark Favor. Okay, here I think I'm going to go for another white card, if we go into white, and I just like to take the creatures out of it just so people might be a little more creature-light. There is another one. We could have Siege Mastodon .deck. We could live the dream. And you would have seen it here first. Oh, let's see. That is a toss-up between these 3. I'm going to take the Fog, because Fog could once in a while do something. Take the Waste, just in case somebody's got a land I really want to take down. Okay. So we're in a good position. Let's see, that's a terrible rare, but a pretty good uncommon. Okay, so let's see. We have Sarah Angel, which is enough with Celestial Flare and Pacifism to move us into white if we wanted to. There's another Mark of the Vampire. It's a good card. I'm not sure if I want to. Divination extremely strong. Festering Newt is decent, but somebody else picked up the Cauldron, so we won't get to use it. And then Master is also good. I think here it looks like we're going to be pulling into white. Other notable cards in the pack, we've got the Predatory Sliver, if anybody goes slivers. Academy Raider. That's a fine card. It's not in our colors and it's not good enough for me to splash it, but it is something to be looking out for. In our black right now, we really only have 1 kill spell. And the big reason to go black is for the kill spells. So this could even end up as a white-blue deck if we don't get some good black spells that are kill-oriented. Ooh, That's a favorite of mine right there. So Air Servant, I think, is even better than the other big flyers. It's better than Sarah Angel, it's better than Sangir. And it's better because it can tap the things that would normally block it. So if you are on offense, it lets it get through. If you're on defense and you just need to hold off for a while and you're playing up against a deck that's got some problem flyers, it even does defense for you. So I think we may be moving unexpectedly into white-blue. The only black cards in this pack, we've got an Undead Minotaur, which is just fine kind of general fodder. Certainly not a pick at this point. Child of Night, along those same lines. It's better in an aggressive deck. Got Duress, which is okay. Vampire Warlord's okay. But none of them really jump out as a bomb like Air Servant does. So I'm going to stick with Air Servant and see if... there's that other cauldron. Okay, so here we're starting to get a little lighter for white and blue. And in general, the only card that I'd really be excited about picking up in this pack is if I was the green deck with some beasts already. But Trained Condor can be good, especially if you've got some Scroll Thieves that it can pick up and drop on your opponent. Got a pop spell over here, which is okay. Other people like this more than I do. Let's see. Do we have instants and sorceries that we're interested in? Okay, we have one instant. Takes a little bit of the surprise out of it when you pick it back up there. So I think we're just going to stick with the Trained Condor. Okay, we've got Grim Return, and this card is spectacular in the black-red sacrifice deck. I played a tournament where I think that 3 out of the 4 games that I needed to win were because of Grim Return. So if I was in the sacrifice deck, I would snap that up. We've got Master of Diversion, which I think is the strongest card for us. And I really hate to not play with the Planeswalker. It's not one that you can splash either. That's one that is fairly dependent. Okay, so let's look at our other cards here. Deathgaze Cockatrice is good. Mark of the Vampire is good. Alright, for the sake of the argument here, I'm going to hide my black. I'm going to cost sort this to see that we are really, really heavy over here on the 5-drop slot. Okay. So there's another Master of Diversion. What kind of deck does this want to be? Master of Diversion is an excellent aggressive card, but you can't be an aggressive deck when your 5-drop slot is half your deck. So we might need to pay a little extra attention to where our curve is going. If we were to try to get back into black, we've got plenty of fine black cards here. Not interested in the Sanguine Bond. Not even sure how good that is in the life game deck itself. So we're going to pick up the Master and see what else we can get. Well, we've already got 2 Siege Mastodon, and I don't see myself playing 3 of those. I'm not very excited about the Angelic Wall as far as an aggressive deck goes, but I'm much more likely to play something like that than I am a 3rd Siege Mastodon. See, plenty of black here, so it indicates that black is open. But, at this point, we are almost certainly too late. Alright, we have 11 creatures, so we could pick up the Hive Stirrings for some additional ones, but I'd rather just get the combat trick here. This might also be a pickup in a little bit. Can help out in those situations where you specifically need an artifact creature. Okay, there's nothing here for us. So I think that means we take out the Plummet, because that hurts us the most in a blue deck that could have a high amount of flyers in it. Okay, here the pick is actually Merfolk Spy, and I didn't have any respect for this card before. It was always the last pick that was coming around. But then I started to play it at the recommendation of a friend of mine, and it got in 7 points of damage the first time I played it, because it was a 1-drop and the game lasted for 8 turns. And so for a single card that costs blue to do 7 damage and give you a decent idea of what your opponent's hand looks like is a pretty nice sideboard card. So I'm going to pick up the Merfolk Spy here. Okay, I'm not real happy about this extra Siege Mastodon, but just in case we run into trouble in playables, I'm going to pick this up rather than hating out one of these other cards. I'm going to ignore that one and move right over here into the Sliver Construct. I'll take out something that would block. Another black card. Let somebody play the staff. Okay, so we have 17. Hey, there's another Air Servant. That's pretty nice. Okay, so we've got all different kinds of stuff here. We've got Air Servant, Claustrophobia, some much needed removal. We've got another Messenger Drake, although we already have 2, and we're high on that slot. Air Servant is just so good that I can't see letting it go here. I hope that I get Claustrophobia back. Wouldn't be real pumped about playing the Sentinel Sliver, but it is a bear. Let's see. Hunt the Weak is going to go by, which is an excellent card, but only if you're in green. Shock is fine. Trollhide is fine as long as you're playing a deck that doesn't have a lot of removal. Like a deck like ours, we are really removal light, so we're going to need to pay careful attention to that. Yeah, I really do want to take that Claustrophobia because we're so removal light. We also have no 4-drops at all. This is the deck without a single 4-drop. So I hope I don't regret not picking up the Claustrophobia. It's just that Air Servant is so strong in this format, I have to pick it. Okay, so we get a Path to Bravery, which could be very nice in this deck, especially if you can get out some early drops. Let's see, what attacks? The Coral Merfolk. Ooh, we are really light there on the 2-drop for creatures. Sliver Construct, a couple Masters, and a Trained Condor. So, this would come down as a 4-drop, and hopefully we wouldn't have taken any damage at that point, and it would make our early drops a little bit bigger. So that's my first thought. We've got a Master of Diversion over here, which is really good. So the question is, do we want the creature or the thing that makes the creature bigger? We're not into Angelic Accord because we don't have any life gain. Wall of Swords is nice because it's a 4-drop, but again, I'd like to get a little bit more aggressive in here. I think I'm going to stick with the Path to Bravery and hope that the Master of Diversion spins for me. Okay, what do we get? Not a lot worth talking about. Charging Griffin, I think, is the strongest card in this pack. What I hope spins is a Wall of Swords. This is a creature-heavy deck, so Congregate might be a decent sideboard card. The cards that were, let's see, Rod of Ruin, is that going to be bad against us? We've got a Coral Merfolk, Trained Condor. I think that's it on our 1 toughness guys, unless you count the Merfolk Spy. So we're not super vulnerable to that, and even if we were, it takes people so long to use this thing. There's a Corpse Hauler in here, which is a solid black card. Suntail Hawk, we might end up playing it if we're short on playables. Hopefully it doesn't get to the point where we're contending with these guys, so we'll pick up that Charging Griffin. There is our first 4-drop. Okay, so it comes around and we've got Negate as a possibility, a Sentinel Sliver, which I think is actually my pick here, just because I want those early creatures. Yeah, I'll pick that up. Then you've got Negate, Maybe the Mancer? Let's see. What do we pick up? We have a Celestial Flare, Show of Valor. And that's pretty much it. So he's not really that good. So I guess the Negate would be better, coming back around. Yeah. We've got the Tenacious Dead here, which is good, especially in the Black-Red Sacrifice deck. It's a nice combo if you can sack something to gain 2 cards as well. We've got Giant Spider, which would be good against us, but we don't have the luxury of hate drafting, so and pick up the creature. Okay, so it comes back around. We've got yet another Messenger Drake. We've got a Ratchet Bomb. Yeah, that set on 4 might do some good for us. I don't know, I've never played with Ratchet Bomb in Draft before. I've played with it in Constructed plenty. So that might be interesting. I think it's a sideboard card. You've got to see if your opponent's really heavy on one particular spot. Although, we are really low in removal. So maybe Ratchet Bomb would be our removal. The problem is that, you know, it's better when it hits those early drops. So we don't really want to nuke our own. I think we're going to play it safe and go with a known entity in the Sentinel Sliver and just pick up another bear. Hopefully either get the Ratchet Bomb or the 3rd Messenger Drake out of that pack. Okay, that's great. I am happy to see that Master of Diversion come around. So that will make 3 Master of Diversions. So if we can just get a couple of those down, then the game should go well for us. We've got 22 cards right now. I'd like to weed out a couple of these Siege Mastodons if I can. Trying to see what else would want to go. Probably want to take out that Merfolk Spy. So this could really be as low as 19. But now we're going to pick up, at the very worst, our 20th. Got Wall of Swords here. I think Wall of Swords is better than Suntail Hawk because it levels us out here a little bit. Because once we do get up here to this 5-drop slot, we've got some pretty solid stuff. So I've been indecisive about what it is that I should be doing with this deck as far as the curve goes, because of that 4-drop spot being so open. But I think I'm going to get my second 4-drop and just try to have an open game plan about having it possibly be an aggressive deck with some reasonable late game. I have never drafted a deck with a curve like this before, so we'll see how it goes. I want to take that Giant Spider out because it does take down some of my flyers. It's a late shock. Alright, so I would rather have the Messenger Drake than a Siege Mastodon. So, oh, I hit all of them. Can't decide one, so pick that up. Okay. Coral Merfolk or Hive Stirrings. Really the only thing that I can do with Slivers is give them Vigilance. That doesn't seem like it's the best possible thing I could be doing. Is Coral Merfolk better here? Well, we'll put that down and see. It's got the same amount of power as Hive Stirrings would. It costs 1 less. Well, we don't have any great use for Zephyr Charge, so I'm going to leave that one be. And pick up a Suntail Hawk that we may or may not play. Alright, did the Mancer pick up any use here? Celestial Flare, Show of Valor. And that is it. So, I am going to take a Vile Rebirth away from somebody. Also take a Corrupt. Makes me wonder if I did the right thing by not going black. But let's see. Okay, let's give them the must-haves. Okay, so that gets us up to 18, so we've got room for about 5 more here. Let's see, what do we want? Suppose we went the sliver construct. A couple of early drops with the coral merfolk. Got a Suntail Hawk in there. And one Angelic Wall. We're holding back all the Siege Mastodons. If we see a whole lot that it would jump in front of, we'll pick those back up. But that gives us a solid 23 there. As far as sideboarding goes, there's not a whole lot of options. If we play blue, the Merfolk Spy goes in, probably over the Suntail Hawk. No reason anyone should ever play that. And if there's a whole bunch on the ground, then I can see taking a Siege Mastodon and putting in place of a Messenger Drake, but in general that Drake's got to be better. The flying and giving you a card when it dies is a lot better than 2 toughness in the majority of situations. So, let's add some land. Suggestion is plains over islands, and that seems pretty reasonable, especially since the majority of our early game is white. Coral Merfolk and Train Condor being an exception to that. By the time you get over here to your 5-drop, you should be able to draw a couple of islands. So I will take note of suggestion. And